In this video, you'll be taught how to add a map. In order to add a new map, we should go to courses and click on course list. And then first, we should select the course where we'll add the map to. So if we click on the add new map button, the interface will appear when we get to add the map. At first, we should specify the name and course where the map will be added to. And for now, we'll set the show borders to true, and I will explain later on what this actually means. As a second step, we should upload the image of the map. And then we get to add the elements, and with an element, a button is meant to which a question series, URL, or a supplement can be added. After we press this button, we should specify the left top corner and right bottom corner of the element. And now we should specify the title of our element. And then we have the option to add an external link to, for example, a video which is relevant to the topic of our element. This is an option which isn't required to do, but for this example, I will add a video which we uploaded on YouTube. And then as a next step, we can add a question series that we've created before. And these are all steps required to add a single element. If needed, we can create more elements, but for now we'll leave it to this one and we will create the map. Once we did add the map, we should be able to find it in the course list. And here we have our map, and now we'll make some changes to it by pressing on the edit button. First, we'll check what the map looks like as a student by pressing on the play button. Here we see a blue border around our element, which is because I did set the show border property to true. This is something that I do not like, and therefore I will change this later on. Besides that, we can already press the button and see that the question series and the video are already present. But as I don't like the blue button, I will first change this setting. I can do this by pressing on Edit Basic Info and then disable the Show Borders function. So now this blue border is removed from the element. If we press this blue button, we'll be directed to the YouTube video that we added, but it might be handy for the students that they can go through the slides themselves, and therefore we will add a supplementary material. We can do this by pressing on the three dots and then editing the element. And in this window, we could add the PDF version of the slides. So let's check whether the PDF file is correctly added. And as you can see, the button now also contains a PDF. I don't like how these three buttons look like at this point, and therefore we'll make some changes to them. We can do it in two ways. We can do it by editing the element itself, and the other method I will show a bit later on. If needed, one can change the question series of the button in this section. Over here, one can set a threshold if there are multiple elements, and a threshold basically restrains the students to use the element before finishing another one. I will show how to do this within a few minutes. And here we could set some element batches. This is something that I will show together with the threshold later on. In this part, we can change what the three buttons will look like. To do this, we should have created a list beforehand, which I explained in another tutorial, and we have to select it. So now we updated the images of the buttons and we'll see how this worked out. And as you can see, they indeed changed. Okay, so now I'll explain how the threshold function works, and in order to do so, we will need a second element, which I will create quickly first. So here I have to set the threshold, and I will set it to 80, which means that the student first should have finished a question series before with an 80% success rate in order to be able to access the element. And I will connect it to the first element, which is the element before this one. So if we now go to the map again, you get to see that you first should finish the question series before with an 80% success rate in order to be able to access this one. But it would be nice for the student to see whether he actually did this, and therefore we'll make use of the batches. So we can add these by again pressing add edit element. And then we will add a new element batch. We will specify that this batch appears once the student has gotten an 80% success rate on this question series. And then we have to add an image for the batch. So this star will appear once he has finished it with an 80% success rate. So the batch is added, and now let's see how this works. In order to do this, I will quickly play one of the question series with a 100% success rate, and then you will see how the batches work. So I got all questions correct, which is a 100% success rate, and now we see this batch. And as you can see, I can access the second element. But I don't like the default location of this batch, and therefore we're going to change this real quickly. We do this by pressing the add redo batch box, and then we're going to specify the location just like we did for the elements. And as you can see, this location is much better. Another quick and easy method for changing the images of the buttons is by pressing the Set Images List for Elements button. We then should select the image list that we want to use, and we can select the elements that should make use of this image list. And as you can see, the buttons of the second element changed, and this method is much more easy and faster for doing it for multiple elements at the same time. Similarly, for changing the images of the buttons, we have the same method for changing the images of the batches, which you could do in this section. This is basically all you need to know on how to create a map. I would like to thank you for your attention and see you next time.